You know, why inspect? That's one of the reasons to inspect. One, know as much as you can about your property. Hey YouTube, I'm super duper excited, okay? I'm gonna be putting together a really dope series, okay? An awesome series for buyers. So if you're in the market to buy a house and you just haven't gotten there yet, this series is for you, all right? If you're just kind of searching, I mean, this is a good place to start because, the home buying process is complex. There's a bunch of moving pieces and stuff's going every which way, okay? And especially once you really get into it, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, where have things gone? Okay, so the first video that I want to make in this series is about the inspection, okay? So you've gone through, you've gotten your offer accepted. Hopefully you have had a discussion with your real estate broker about including an inspection contingency into your offer. And now you're like, okay, what do I do? Okay, because the inspection happens at the very beginning, all right? So the first thing you need to know is that the inspection and, really understanding the property is your responsibility, okay? You need to make sure you're doing your due diligence. This means that you check the home for everything. Like, trust nothing, okay? Look, if it says something is in the listing, double check it, okay? Because according to most real estate contracts, that falls with you, okay? At least here in Washington State, I know for a fact that falls with you, all right? So it's all your responsibility. Do your due diligence, okay? And, I will further emphasize that, we're in a pretty strong seller's market here in Washington State. And, it's common to really like shorten timelines and stuff like that. You need to make sure that you're having a conversation with your broker and that you let them know, hey, this is how much time I need to review this. Because when you get your inspection report back, sometimes those reports are like 60 pages long. It's not like a small document. And, that's just the general inspection. So if you have other specialty professionals come out there, then you have even more to consider, all right? Okay. So it's a lot, okay? And, if you want to go and, for example, you have the ability to research permits. So sitting down at the permit office, depending on where the property is located, you might research like whether or not the water supply is adequate to the property. You might want to investigate the, like the condition of the sewer line, because typically that's your responsibility. The sewer line that goes out to the street, your responsibility, that's you, so you want to make sure you know, okay? So, I mentioned before, you want to be skeptical of everything, all right? And, sure, like information is listed in the listing and, the seller, typically by this time you've read the thing called the seller disclosure, you've looked at their information. All of that is really, it's factual in a sense, but in a lot of ways it's very subjective. Like the seller may not know of a pest problem, so they would not include it on that. So you need to make sure that you're sort of like, you very carefully checking every little thing that is of interest to you, all right? And, a home is a big purchase and a huge investment. And especially if you go and you buy a house and it turns out that you need to do a whole bunch of work, it's best to learn and know as much as possible about the house before you buy it, okay? Because, nobody likes surprises. Nobody wants to like move into their house and find out like, oh, I need to rewire the whole house, all right? You want to know that stuff in advance, okay? So, here's what you're going to want to do, all right? You want to ideally be present for all inspections. You, the homeowner, should be present for all inspections. It's fine. You can have your real estate professional with you, but you know who really needs to be there at those inspections and like walking with the inspector or the professional that you hired to come in, like the electrician or the plumber or the HVAC guy? You need to be there because it's your house. And all of it, literally Everything rests with you. You need to research the house and you need to say, okay, I feel comfortable with this purchase. I feel comfortable with this purchase. I know what I'm buying. And, whatever else comes up, I take full responsibility, and, whatever happens, happens. Okay. So during the inspection, it's great. Walk with the inspector. Most inspectors, I've never had an inspector not want the person to walk with them. Go with them and stand behind their shoulder and ask them questions. They give you a report. Take little notes, because a lot of inspectors will say, hey, this is how you maintain this, or this is how you do that, or whatever. You might make yourself a little note, like in your phone or on a notepad, that says, hey, reference this part of the inspection report so I know how to clean out my dryer vent, or so I know what I need to do in order to keep my roof in the best condition possible. Okay. So, make sure you're there, make sure you're asking questions. The other thing that you may want to consider doing, this is not a requirement. Okay. This is why inspections are kind of complicated, because you don't have to do any of this. Okay. You don't have to do any of it. All right. It's recommended that you do it. So you get your general inspector in there. All right. You get your general inspector. And, the general inspector is just a generalist. They're just going to come to the house and they're going to look at it kind of like, sort of like big picture, like here's what's going on. All right. And usually what they do is they make a bunch of different recommendations. And at that point, you need to look at those recommendations and say, okay, they said that there might be something going on with the HVAC system. I don't really know. Like, let's get an HVAC person in there. Hey, they said there might be something going on with the electrical, so let me get an electrician in there. All right. So then you pull in your specialists and you bring them in, they look at it and they tell you what's going on to the best of their ability. And then that way you can make an informed decision on the purchase. Okay. You can make an informed decision on the purchase. All right. So once you get this report, review it carefully. Go through every page. Take the report and take the listing information or what you think you know about the house and compare it and make sure that you don't have any discrepancies. All right. Make sure that everything is what you thought it was. All right. And if something comes up and you're like, hey, this isn't what I thought it was, or I feel confused about this, contact the inspector. That is the person you hired to tell you about the mechanics and the guts and all that stuff of the house. Contact that person. Your real estate agent might be able to help you, but they're not really, the reason that you hire the inspector is because your real estate agent is not trained in everything that is a house. They might know some things about a house, but they're not the person. That's like way outside of their like level of expertise. It's way outside. That's why your real estate agent doesn't do the inspection for you. That's why you hire somebody. Okay. So here are the 4 things you're going to do to make this happen. All right. Here are the 4 things. 1, you're going to ask your agent for local contacts. Okay. So this could be that electrician, that plumber. It could be the general inspector. And then it is your responsibility to contact those people, interview them, ask whatever questions for you to qualify them and make sure that they're going to get you the information you want. Okay. And then you would coordinate with your real estate professional to get them in the house so that you can conduct your inspections. Number 2, I've already hit on this. Be present for your inspections, all of them. If you have to have a freaking foundation person come in and look at the foundation, be there. Because who has to live in that house? You do. The real estate agent doesn't need to live there. The foundation guy doesn't need to live there. And, really, you want to know the most that you can know about your investment. Right? You want to know the most you can know about your investment. And you also want to be there to ask questions, right? Like, how serious is this? When, does this need to be replaced right now? Is this a really expensive fix? You might want to ask some questions. And the only way to really do that is to be present or connect with that person at some point. Okay. Be present for the inspection. Number 3, carefully review all inspections reports, all inspection recommendations. Carefully review it, okay? Because remember, like I said, this document is long. Sometimes it's like 60 pages. You need to go through each page. Most inspectors will put like sort of like a summary piece together so you can kind of look at like, oh, here are the high level things, but you might want to dig deep. You might want to get through, all pages. All pages. So make sure that you're thinking, oh man, I might be looking at 100 pages of documents. And you know what? You might be, because if your freaking new home has a condo community, you're going to be looking at hundreds of pages. All right. And that is your responsibility. Okay. Lastly, number 4, this is the key piece right here where the real estate agent becomes a value. Discuss your concerns with your agent so they can negotiate on your behalf. Discuss your concerns with your agent so they can negotiate on your behalf. Okay? It's not the agent's responsibility to tell you buy or don't buy this house. Okay? I mean, it's really like you look at it, you take a look at it, they might be able to look at it and say, hey, in my professional opinion, of all the houses I've seen, this is in blah, blah, blah condition, or, this is really common for this area, or blah, 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 whatever. They might be able to kind of give you some information about their experience, but they don't really know what's inside your heart. They don't know like what your risk tolerance is, or, what you're willing to deal with, or, you may have the ability in your finances to do things with houses that need some work, okay? The most important thing that they can do for you is negotiate on your behalf. I mean, that's one of the, why inspect? That's one of the reasons to inspect. 1, know as much as you can about your property. 2, figure out if you want to buy it. 3, find ways to, either get some fixes done or get some money off the purchase price, or get some closing costs covered or something, right? That is what the real estate agent does. Okay, the real estate agent is going to come in there and maybe get some money off the purchase price. Okay, so I'm going to reiterate here are the 4 things you want to do. 4 things. Ask your agent for local contacts. Number 2, you want to be present for every single inspection. 3, carefully review all inspection reports and recommendations, and ask lots of questions. And number 4, discuss your concerns with an agent so that they can negotiate on your behalf. Discuss your concerns with an agent so they can negotiate on your behalf. All right, YouTube. So that is the first video of the freaking 2020 buyer series. All right, dropping it here. If you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the rest of the videos. I'm putting together, it's going to be like 10 videos, and we're going to go in deep on some stuff. All right, I'm going to have some special guests, and we're going to really like get down to like, boom, how do we make this buying experience as smooth as possible? And one of the ways to do that is to make sure that you know what you need to know. Okay, you know what you need to know as the buyer. See you again soon, YouTube.